Alright, so today we're going to go over neurovascular assessment, and then we're going to put on a spiral bandage, and then afterwards we're going to do a little post-assessment just to make sure the bandage is done correctly and feels okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce myself to the patient as their nurse. Then I'll ask them their name, their birthday, then I'll check their MRN on their wrist to verify who they are before I do anything. So next, I'd make sure I don't have to use any sort of PPE in case there's some sort of precautions in place. So after all that, I'll start the first of 7 steps for neurovascular assessment. So step 1 would be checking for pain. So I'd check the affected limb for pain, where the pain is, and the level of the pain on a scale from 1 to 10. 10 being the worst pain you've ever felt, 1 being nothing at all. So step 2, I'd feel for the peripheral pulses to assess blood flow to the affected limb. So I'd compare the affected and unaffected. I'd check the pulses for presence, rate, regularity, strength, and equality. So step 3, I would check for the capillary refill. So if I press, hold, and wait, I'll see the extremity of the limb, in this case the finger, turn pale, and then the color return quickly. If it takes over 3 seconds for the color to return, that means there's some sort of delayed circulation going on. So that's something that would have to be reported. So step 4 would be testing for sensation and motor function. So I'd test to see if there's numbness, pins and needles, where the patient feels these. Then I get my patient to close their eyes and see if they feel me touching the affected limb. Then next I get them to open their eyes and ask them to wiggle their extremities, so in this case the fingers, make sure their motor function is sufficient and alright and unaffected. So step 5, I'd compare the color of the skin of both limbs, the affected and unaffected. Step 6, I'd feel for temperature, compare the affected and unaffected limb. And then finally step 7, I'd check for edema. So I'd check for swelling, compare one side to the other, and if there had been other vital signs recorded, I'd check to see if swelling is increased or decreased. And if there is a major increase or something's awry, I would report that. So after you do all that, you can put the bandage on. So again, in this case, we're going to do a spiral bandage. So a spiral bandage can be used on a cylindrical body part, like an arm or a leg. And so it's used to hold dressings in place for compression. So I'm going to demonstrate how to put that on. So what I'll make sure to do first is take this corner here and point it towards the patient. Now after I do that, I'm going to wrap the bandage around once and leave that corner sticking out. Now what I'll do next is I'll fold it over and then do one more wrap over that folded corner. And what that's going to do is it's going to keep the bandage from moving and shifting around, because that won't feel very good or be very helpful. So a couple wraps over that, and then I'm going to wrap up the affected limb, the arm here, with each wrap consisting about 50% of the width of the bandage. So I'm going to keep going up here, and I don't want to cover the elbow. So what I do when I get to the end is I will do 2 wraps to secure this bandage in place. Then we'll take some tape, make sure it's in place there. Get a second bit of tape. Try not to use Scotch tape if you're doing this in a hospital. It won't look very professional. Alright, so we're going to do our post-assessment now. So I'm going to feel and press down on the extremities here. and let go. So the patient's capillary refill seems to be good. Then I'd ask the patient if it feels okay.
Yeah.
It feels good. And there we are. So that's how you do neurovascular assessment, putting on a spiral bandage, and your little mini assessment afterwards to make sure the bandage is comfortable and not too tight.